Black Stanley working on boxing. Just you look at the know who he is. One of the greatest jabs in the history of boxing. The second longest reign as a heavyweight champ of the world. The Easton Assassin. Where'd you get that nickname from, Larry?
Richard Gigetti gave me that name when I was fighting in Scranton, a 4-round fight. He said, "Let's make it big. Let's call you the Eastern Assassin." I said, "I ain't never assassinated nobody." I said, "I'm not that big of a puncher." But he said, "But we're gonna give you that nickname." So that nickname carried on from there.
Larry, you just got to be totally. I mean, it's just indescribable. I mean, you were a guy that came on the second longest reign as heavyweight champion of the world. Just you and Joe Louis, baby.
Well, you know what? That's an honor in itself. I mean, Joe Louis, everybody know the Brown Bomber was the man out there. He done a lot for us black folks. And my mom used to talk about Joe Louis when I started boxing, how she used to listen to him on the radio and how great he was. And for me to follow in that footstep, it's just a great honor.
Joe, Larry, when everybody talks about you, and there's some who say that you got the greatest jab in history, but I'll question your jab. It's just natural?
Well, the reason why my jab was so good is because I was scared to throw the right hand. I mean, if I throw the right hand, it might counter with something hit me, and I didn't want to get hit. So I had to make that jab work for me. And, I did, I got to still say I stole some of the Muhammad Ali move with that jab. But, it's all good because it helps me and it made me better, made me who I, become the heavyweight champion.
Larry, and talking about that, you worked with Don King, but you were a guy who understood the business of boxing, and you became very good at it.
Well, you know what? One of the things I didn't want to do is end up with nothing. I don't want people to say, "Oh, he got beat up, he took all those punches and everything." Nah, well, look what he got, nothing. So, I looked at boxing as a business thing, something that I wanted to do and continue to do and be good at what I was doing because I wanted to set that example. Anybody who wants to do something to make their mind up, you can do it. And that's what I wanted to show.
The greatness of Larry Holmes. You came after Muhammad Ali, and yet you made your own identity, your own namesake. And you talked about how much it meant being with Ali. I remember your daughter said when you first was a sparring partner, you were proud of a black eye he gave you. He was a big inspiration to you.
Hey, listen, Muhammad Ali was a big inspiration. Every time I see him, he still, gives me them inspiration because he was one of the great fighters, man. I'm not going to say the great fighters because, it was so many. Look, Smoking Joe was great as far as I'm concerned, and Joe Louis was great, Marciano Dempsey, all them guys, man. So I don't just take one fighter and say he was the greatest. I'm going to say I'm one of the greatest. I'm not going to say I was the greatest. So, when I got the chance to meet those guys and be around them, man, it's something that I talk about, and I will continue to talk about it for the rest of my life.
Larry, look at that heavyweight picture today. Hasim Rahman is the last standing American heavyweight champion.
I think I'll make a comeback.
You coming back, Larry?
No, I can't come back. But, that's what I'm talking about. There's nothing out there, really, in the boxing, I mean, you got these guys, Klitschko got beat up, I forget the light heavyweight name, Bird. I mean, come on, give me a break. I mean, all he did is hit him when he stood there and let these guys hit you like that, and I don't understand it. I mean, thank God boxing, we are not the Joe Frazier's and the Muhammad Ali's, the Larry Holmes, the Ken Norton, the Ernie Shavers are out of that because these guys now can come along and claim that they're heavyweight champions of the world.
Larry, it is just an honor. As always been, I remember coming down in Easton. It's a pleasure being, and you always have been in and outside the ring, the champ.
And thanks, and that's very important. You want to set a good example. You want to lead example for your young people to follow because all the gangs and the hoods and all that stuff, they can keep that, I don't want to sacrifice my life or give my life up for nobody. I want to live my life and want to live it right, be happy. And these guys need to take a page out of the book. Live their life, be happy. Don't give it up for nobody. Don't take a life and give up yours. Just keep living.
Okay, a $1 billion offer to come back. You come back, $1 billion?
I come back to my senses only if I can get that big guy named George Foreman out there. I beat him up because I didn't like the way he beat up Joe Frazier.
I asked Joe one time, I said, Joe, was Ali the toughest fight you ever fought? He said, yeah. He said, but George beat me up twice.
I know I was there.
Black Stanley working on boxing, the immortal, legendary Larry Holmes.